Good evening and welcome to our episode 13. Before we start, as always, let's start with our gratitude attitude. So just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and relax your body. Take one more deep breath and relax your body. Now, think about one thing that you are thankful for that happened in the last 1 week. Once you have identified that, think about why that was positive for you or why you are thankful for that. And now let's release it in the universe. If you are by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you are with someone, just tell them the same thing. Okay. So, one thing about this gratitude attitude is there was a movement about 10 years ago of what's known as a gratitude rock. I'm not sure if anyone of you have heard about that, but people would pick up a small rock and keep it in their pocket. And anytime they think about something that happens which they are thankful for, right away, they'll just touch that rock. And it was a huge movement about 10 years ago. I think it probably died down by now. But it was an interesting way of making sure that we show our gratitude on a daily basis. So, something to think about. But today, we are going to talk about equanimity. We briefly touched on this during our Karma Q&A session a couple of weeks ago. There are two types of equanimity. One that is your attitude towards the situation, and other your attitude towards phenomena. So let's take the second one first. It means two different things, quite frankly. So in this context, equanimity means compassion without attachment. Sounds very simple, but it's very profound. If you think about it, we normally have three different attitudes towards all beings, right? Attachment, hatred, or indifference. We exhibit compassion towards those who we are attached to our family, our friends. We have a lot of compassion towards them. We have no compassion for those who we hate. And we don't care one way or the other about someone we are indifferent about. We hear about For example, if something happens to someone in our family or our friend, we immediately feel for them, right? We want to try and help them. But if the same thing happens to someone we don't know about, we have no compassion in most cases. Some of you are probably better than us and you show compassion towards all beings, which is great. But in a lot of cases, we are indifferent about them. As we sit here, for example, there is genocide going on in parts of the world, right? Myanmar, parts of Africa, Sudan. And we read about them in the news, but we have little or no compassion towards them. If, on the other hand, someone we are attached to is going through difficulty, we show great compassion, and which is great. I mean, we must show compassion wherever we can. But even to those who we love, our compassion is conditional. It's conditional based on our attachment. It may be that we want them to do things a certain way, or we want them to thank us later, or whatever that may be. But there is usually a string attached to our compassion. I I talk to a lot of people who'd come and say, "Man, I helped this guy so much, and he has no appreciation for what I do for him or her, whatever that case may be." Right? So in that case, that compassion has string. It's good that we are helping. It's good that we have compassion, of course, but the string is an issue, right? So an equanimous mind is a mind that is compassionate towards all being without attachment. We have some same compassion towards someone who is family member as someone who we know nothing about. Same level of compassion towards both of them. Currently, if two guys are in trouble or two people are in trouble, we'll tend to help one who we are attached to, but not the other, or at least the first one we are attached to before we attend to the next person, right? This discrimination is what we need to stop in trying to be equanimous. Developing universal compassion is not easy and can take a lifetime, but we need to start somewhere. And the best place to start is to try and start with removing attachment from whom we are already compassionate towards. Give them our unconditional love. These are the people we are already attached to. Once we remove the attachment from our compassion to our loved ones, then we expand that circle. We begin showing compassion towards everyone we meet, and then we continue from there. So that's the one definition of equanimity. The second definition is a mind that is steady regardless of situation. This is a balanced mind. No matter the situation, we keep our cool. So if a situation is tense and people are talking negativity, we don't get angry and react accordingly. We assess the situation without emotionally getting involved and only respond to the problem, not the drama that surrounds the problem. This also means that the situation is all positive, we don't get excited and let our egos go rampant. Even in such situation, we'll remain even kill. So in this context, the equanimity is protection from what is called the eight worldly winds. Protection from praise and blame, right? We get praise, we get excited, we get blame, we get upset. Success and failure, pleasure and pain, fame and disrepute. Becoming attached to or excessively elated with success, praise, fame, pleasure. It's a setup for suffering when things go other way around. So the way to bring about equanimity is wise attention in these situations. To be mindful from moment to moment without a break, and that way we can develop equanimity. If we are mindful of our thoughts, it's easy to develop equanimity. And the one moment of equanimity causes a succeeding moment of equanimity to arise. So it builds on itself. It's like a snowball effect, if you will. And once it's activated, it will continue and it will deepen. It can bring about deep levels of practice beyond the insight into arising and passing away of phenomena. So how do we develop that? We can develop it two ways. One, balance mind towards all living beings. So no matter who we are talking to, same level of balance. And two, balance mind towards non-living things. Rich or poor, same level of balanced state of mind. And that allows for mystery of things, like that will allow unknowables, uncontrollables to be just as they are without getting riled up about it. And that acceptance is where peace and freedom lie. So when we realize that it is actually very little we can control other than our own reaction, we learn to let go. So that is a very key thing. Um, there's a guy called Timber Hawkeye. Interesting guy. He has a podcast. If you have a chance, listen to him. He said, "You can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is the calm yourself, and the storm will pass." And that's exactly is what equanimity is about. So with that, let's start our meditation today. What we'll do today is a little bit different, a new technique. Again, if a technique's already working for you, you don't need to try these different techniques. I'm just trying to give you different techniques. So we'll today imagine that our mind is this deep ocean. If you look at the ocean, the waves are just on the surface. As you go deep, the water is calm. So our thoughts are waves, just like the waves on the surface. And we go deep, there's a stillness away from that waviness. And that stillness is what we're going to try and focus on today. So let's do this. Let's get into our meditation posture. Make sure your legs are straight. If you are seated in a chair or cross-legged position, either works. Your spine is erect. Eyes gently closed. And keep your mouth just a little bit open. It will take all the tension out. Just watch your posture for a second. Now take a deep breath. And as you exhale, relax your body. Take one more deep breath. And as you exhale, relax some more. Now bring your attention to your breathing. Notice the sensation of your breath as you breathe. Feel the cool air when you inhale and slightly warmer air when you exhale. Just focus on your breathing for a minute or so on your own. Now imagine your root mind, which is at your heart, is like a deep ocean. Deeper you go, more stillness you can experience. Focus on that stillness. If a thought arises, think of it as a wave on the surface and go deep where the stillness resides. If you find yourself chasing your thoughts, please go back to your breathing, sensation of your breath for about 5 breaths, and then find your stillness. Again, if a thought arises, consider it as a wave on the surface and dive deep to find that stillness within your root mind. If you find yourself chasing, please go back to your breathing for about 5 breaths. Now, make a determination. Next time there seems like storm out there where you want to jump up and down, you would just take a minute, dive deep within, calm yourself, and then deal with the situation at hand. And focus on that determination single pointedly for last minute or so. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Okay, so let's open up for any questions you may have.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Uncle.
Like when you say that have the balanced mind, means you don't ride through the good feeling or bad feeling, probably, if I understood correctly.
Right,
That you don't become very happy on something happening good and don't start crying on something goes bad.
right,
But on the other hand, the emotions and expression of emotions is a part of the life that you always want to express your emotions either to your friends or families or your surroundings basically.
right.
And how do you counteract with that?
So
That
you can still show emotion without being elated. For example, um, I'll take the bad example first, and then I'll give you a good example. Let's say um, my car got totaled, right? No point going all, it is what it is, right? It's just a car, it's just money, nothing beyond that. If we get that level, then it helps us at that situation. On the positive side, let's say we got $1 million lottery, right? Again, it's a lot of money, but it's just money. So if we keep that, what Buddha is saying is that if you keep your even kill on a positive things, negative things will take care of itself. Otherwise, your highs will be high and your lows will be lows. And you want to protect yourself from the lower lows. If you can avoid the lower lows and keep the higher highs, more power to you. Okay, but most people are not able to do that. Higher highs brings lower lows, and that's where this thing becomes interesting.
at least for negative thing, I can give little different thought that something has gone bad, but it could have become still worse. Like you have an accident, the
But
car
it's all
got
right.
damaged, but nothing happens to you or to your family. So, which is a good thing. Something bad has happened, but at least it could have been worse. So that is where probably you can balance your mind. And same thing.
Even if you are physically injured, though, let's talk about this thing about outer problems and inner problems, right? Physically, we are grasping ourselves so strongly that this is my body, right? And we think that we are the body, and that's about it. And that grasping is what brings, when you say, nothing happened to you, but it's still just the body, right? I had an interesting discussion with my dad 7 years ago when he was here. And as you know, he's a very religious man. And I said, Dad, if you are here and something happens to mom or you, what do I do? I don't know all the things, right way to handle it. And he said in a simple single sentence, he says, listen, this body is just like the shirt. Once I'm dead, this body is nothing beyond that. So don't worry about it too much. Don't stress it. Don't wait for anybody. Just let it go. Don't let it decay and say, hey, your brother will come from India and this and that. So he matter of factly said that this body is just like a shirt. Once the life's out of it, right? You're just using this shirt for today, and tomorrow it's going to go to wash, right? Now, body has a longer a cycle than 24 hours, but beyond that, it's nothing else. The life within the body moves on, right? It either finds another body, or you get liberation, nirvana, whatever that case may be. So the grasping we have with our body is uh, uh, um, something we'll talk about next time, about outer problems and inner problems. What is inner? Body is not inner. That's something to think about, that even if you are hurt, right, your body is hurt, not you are hurt. And we'll talk about in details. Interesting topic. I'm glad you brought it up. We'll discuss it.
કૃષ્ણને કરવું હોય તે કરે.
Yeah, that's the thing, Andy, right? That it's if we just take it as it is, right? Whatever is done is done. Let's say somebody got in an accident in your family, right, or my family, or whatever that case may be. It's done, right? Now, yes, we take them to hospital. We make sure they get the best care. Whatever we need to do, we do. But if we let that affect ourselves internally, it's not helping anybody. It's not helping a situation for sure.
That's the main thing, that something has happened. Now, what is the action that you need to take?
Exactly.
And rather than going into the cause or blaming that you did this and that's why it happened, or you could have paid attention, or something like that.
જેમ મમ્મી કહે ને ભગવાનની ઈચ્છા હતી એમ થયું.
Exactly, right? What's done is done. Absolutely nothing you can do about it. Let's just react to the situation at hand without, and key thing is without disturbing your own peace. That's the key thing.
It's the thing. That is the thing.
And it's easy to say. I'm not, I'm not saying here, it's easy to talk in theory. In practicality, it is very
It is easy to say,
It is.
Right. But you said something about the storm and the calmness. I think there's a similar saying.
Right.
You can't change the direction of wind, but you can always adjust the sail to suit it.
Right. Absolutely right. If a storm's going that way, if I'm going to fight, I'm going to die. If I take hunker down, I'm okay. Right.
I think let's give to somebody else, Ramal or Sunan.
Any other questions? Sunan, Premal?
No question, but I mean, equanimity is essentially sainthood. I mean, if you have compassion to all living beings and
Yes.
control your emotions, it's essentially sainthood.
Absolutely. That's where you want to strive towards, right? I spent 8 months learning this book called Universal Compassion. Very interesting book, right? Exactly what they're teaching. This is it's that's what you want to strive towards, right? So what we say, most of us say we want nirvana, right? Or liberation. So equanimity brings you to the next level, which is enlightenment. Nirvana is great, but it means you stop this cycle of birth and death, which is great. Everyone should strive for that. Enlightenment is the next step where you help other people become liberated. I mean, I'm sure people spend multiple lifetimes, right,
Yeah.
trying to achieve that. So, all right, we'll stop there. Thank